It is a weekend. You are not at school. You are on your own phone and you post something. Angry, crude, the kind of thing teenagers post when they are upset. Can your school punish you for that? In 2021, a 14-year-old's disappearing Snapchat reached the Supreme Court of the United States, and the answer it gave shapes the rights of every student and every parent in the age of the phone. Students do have free speech. A famous 1969 case said so. Young people do not shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. But schools can still limit speech that seriously disrupts the school. For decades, that line was easy to draw because school speech happened at school. Then everyone got a phone, and the gate disappeared. Now a student's words can be posted from a bedroom at midnight and be in front of the whole school by morning. Over the next 12 minutes, the post, the punishment, and the moment the court had to decide where a school's power over your voice actually ends. Her name is Brandy Levy. In 2017, she is 14, a student at Mahanoy Area High School in Pennsylvania, and a cheerleader on the junior varsity squad. She wants to be on varsity. She does not make it. She is told to stay on JV while a younger student moves up. To a 14-year-old, this is not a small thing. It stings. So, on a Saturday, off school grounds at a local convenience store, she does what a lot of frustrated teenagers do. She opens Snapchat, takes a photo of herself and a friend with their middle fingers raised, and adds a caption. Short, blunt, and full of profanity, aimed at school, at softball, at cheer, at everything. We are not going to repeat it, but you can imagine the energy of it. Pure, unfiltered teenage anger. Here is the thing about Snapchat. The post is supposed to vanish. It goes out to her friends, about 250 of them, and then it is gone. But gone is a myth. Someone takes a screenshot. The screenshot travels, and it lands exactly where she least wants it, in front of the cheerleading coaches. And it is worth sitting with how ordinary this was. No threat, no name target, no plan. Just a teenager off the clock, cursing her own disappointment into a phone. The most forgettable kind of speech there is, until a screenshot made it permanent. The school's response is firm. For that post, made on a weekend, off campus, on her own phone, Brandy is suspended from the junior varsity cheerleading team for the entire upcoming year. To the school, this is simple discipline. A cheerleader publicly trashing the program she is part of. To Brandy and her parents, it is something else. A public school reaching off campus into a weekend to punish a teenager for words it did not like. They sue, represented by the ACLU, and the question rides all the way up to the Supreme Court. To understand the stakes, you have to go back to that 1969 case, Tinker versus Des Moines. Students had worn black armbands to school to protest a war. The school punished them, and the Supreme Court sided with the students. Tinker set the rule that still governs student speech. Yes, students have First Amendment rights, but a school can discipline speech that would substantially disrupt the school, that genuinely interferes with running it. Armbands worn silently did not cross that line. A protest that shut the school down might. Those students had worn the armbands in 1965 to mourn the dead of the Vietnam War, after the school banned that specific protest in advance. The court's answer was blunt. Neither students nor teachers shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. But a school may still act when speech would substantially disrupt its work. For 50 years, that test worked because it had a place. School speech meant speech at school. In the hallway, the classroom, the assembly. A school's authority had edges you could see. The phone erased those edges. When a student can broadcast to the entire school from her own bedroom at any hour, on any day, what counts as school speech? If a school can punish a disruptive post made off campus, then in principle, it can reach a student's words 24 hours a day anywhere. Because almost anything a student says online could, in theory, ripple back to school. And that is the quiet danger the case exposed. Not that schools would punish one rude Snapchat, but that the logic for punishing it had no natural stopping point. Follow it far enough, and a student never really leaves school at all. The gate that Tinker assumed, the line between the school's world and the rest of a young person's life, had simply dissolved. In 2021, the Supreme Court ruled for Brandy Levy. By a vote of 8-1, it held that the school had violated her First Amendment rights when it punished her for that off-campus post. Justice Stephen Breyer wrote the opinion, and his reasoning was careful. A school's special authority over what students say, he explained, is weaker off-campus than on. Off-campus, a student is normally in the care of her parents, not the school. And if schools could police student speech around the clock, that power would reach so far into private life that it could swallow students' free speech entirely. Breyer added a thought that explains why the court bent toward the student. America's public schools, he wrote, are the nurseries of democracy. The place a free society teaches the next generation to tolerate the speech it dislikes. A school that punishes every unpopular off-campus word does not model that lesson. It teaches the opposite. The court also looked at what had actually happened and found almost nothing. Brandy's post had caused, at most, a few minutes of discussion in one class. That is not the substantial disruption Tinker requires. The school had punished frustration, not chaos. But, and this is the part people miss, the court refused to give students a blank check. It pointedly did not say that schools can never reach off-campus speech. It listed the kinds of things that might still justify a school stepping in, even off campus. Serious bullying or harassment aimed at other students, threats, cheating, breaking real rules. It declined to draw one bright line, leaving the hard cases for later. One justice would have gone the other way. Justice Clarence Thomas dissented, arguing that historically, schools had broad authority over students that did extend beyond the campus, and that the majority was discarding that tradition. His was the lone vote, but it points at the real difficulty. Nobody, including the court, drew a clean line, because in the age of the phone, a clean line may not exist. So where does this leave you, or your kid? With a protection that is real but deliberately fuzzy. After Mahanoy, a public school cannot punish a student simply for an ordinary, off-campus, online event that does not disrupt the school. Frustration on a weekend is not the school's business, but it is not a wall. The same ruling keeps the door open for the serious cases, the threat, the targeted harassment, the cheating ring run over a group chat. The result is a gray zone that every student and parent now lives in, decided post by post, case by case. And notice what the court actually protected. Not a noble political statement, but a crude, throwaway Snapchat that vanished in seconds. That was on purpose. The court understood that free speech is tested not by the speech we admire, but by the speech we find petty or rude or pointless, because that is the speech the powerful are most tempted to punish. A 14-year-old's bad weekend, captured in a disappearing post, ended up drawing one of the most important lines of the smartphone era. The line between the school's authority and the rest of a young person's life. The school could reach a lot. It could not reach everything. We have now watched the state try to search you, track you, and take your property, and try to police what you say. In every one of those fights, the pattern is the same. A power that made sense in a smaller world, stretched by technology until a court has to find its edge again. And every time, that edge looks less like a fence than a line drawn in pencil, ready to be moved by whatever device comes next. But not every right is taken from you by a school or a police officer. Some you hand over yourself, willingly, in seconds, without reading a word. The next case is about the most common contract in modern life, the one you agree to constantly, that quietly signs away your right to ever take a company to court. That is next time